Welcome back, chaos lovers. Today we're diving into the most uncomfortable, dramatic, and absolutely unhinged wedding moments that actually happened in real life. You know that part in wedding ceremonies where they ask if anyone objects? Yeah, we all assume nobody actually does that. Wrong. We asked Reddit, what's the craziest wedding objection or disaster you've witnessed? And buckle up, because these stories are wild. Hit that like button, subscribe for more relationship carnage, and drop a comment if you've witnessed wedding chaos firsthand. Let's get into it.
I was at my cousin's wedding. Beautiful ceremony, outdoor venue, everyone's dressed up. The officiant gets to the speak now or forever hold your peace part. We all expect silence. That's how it always goes. Then someone stands up. The groom's ex-girlfriend. She's literally in the audience. Why she was invited, I have no idea, but there she is. She says, "I object." The entire wedding freezes. You could hear a pin drop. The bride looks like she's about to commit murder. The groom has gone completely pale. The ex continues, "I'm 3 months pregnant. The baby is his." Chaos, absolute chaos. The bride screams. The groom is trying to say something but can't form words. Half the audience gasps. The other half pulls out their phones to record. The bride rips off her veil, throws her bouquet at the groom's face, and I mean throws it like a fastball, and storms out. The groom's parents are starting yelling at him. The bride's father looks like he's about to fight someone. The bridesmaids are chasing after the bride. The ex just stands there looking satisfied with the destruction she's caused. Here's the twist. She wasn't actually pregnant. She admitted it on Facebook 2 days later. She just wanted to ruin the wedding out of spite. But the damage was done. The bride called off the wedding. Turns out the groom had been seeing his ex a few months before the wedding, though she wasn't pregnant. But that betrayal, plus the public humiliation, was enough. The ex got sued for the wedding costs, about $40,000. Last I heard, they settled out of court. The bride and groom never got back together. The bride married someone else 3 years later and explicitly banned ex-girlfriends from the guest list.
Starting strong with fake pregnancy announcements. That's not just objecting to a wedding, that's choosing violence. This woman woke up that morning, put on a nice dress, and decided, today I'm going to commit social terrorism. And it worked. She destroyed an engagement, caused $40,000 in damages, and got sued. That's dedication to being petty. But also, why was she invited? Who invites their fiancé's ex to their wedding? Was this a keep your enemies close situation? Because that backfired spectacularly. The bouquet fastball to the face is... That bride had an arm. That groom probably still has flowers embedded in his skull. And the Facebook confession 2 days later? Lol, JK, not pregnant, just hate you. Ma'am, that's a crime. The fact that the groom was actually cheating, though, plot twist. She lied about the pregnancy, but not about him being trash. So was she wrong? Was she right? Was she chaotic neutral? The universe works in mysterious, petty ways. Next story.
I was at my friend's wedding. The best man was the groom's brother. They were really close, or so we thought. The best man gets up to give his speech. Starts off normal, talking about growing up together, childhood memories, funny stories. Everyone's laughing. Then he says, "But I can't do this anymore. I can't stand here and celebrate this." The room goes quiet. The groom looks confused. The best man continues, "I've been in love with the bride for 5 years, since the day my brother introduced her to me, and she knows it. We've talked about it. We've kissed. 3 months ago, we almost slept together." You could hear everyone's jaw hit the floor simultaneously. The bride stands up and runs out crying. The groom just sits there in shock. The best man is crying now too, saying he's sorry, but he couldn't keep lying. The bride's family starts screaming. The groom's parents are trying to process what just happened. Guests are leaving because nobody knows what to do. The groom finally stands up, walks over to his brother and punches him, just decks him right there. The best man goes down, hits a table, champagne glasses everywhere. Security has to separate them, the police are called, the reception is canceled. Here's what came out later. The bride and the best man had kissed, but it was one time when they were both drunk, and the bride immediately told him it was a mistake and could never happen again. He became obsessed and convinced himself they were meant to be together. The bride tried to warn the groom that his brother had feelings for her, but the groom dismissed it as a misunderstanding. She didn't mention the kiss because she was ashamed and thought it was behind them. The wedding was obviously called off. The bride and groom did eventually get married. 6 months later, much smaller ceremony. The best man was banned, obviously. The brothers don't speak anymore. Their parents are devastated. Family holidays are apparently very awkward now. The best man lost his job, his friends, and his family because he decided a wedding toast was the appropriate time for a love confession.
My brother in Christ, therapy exists. This man chose violence. He chose chaos. And he chose to detonate a nuclear bomb at his own brother's wedding. I can't stand here and celebrate this. Then don't. Just sit down, fake a stomachache, leave. There are so many options that aren't confess your unrequited love in front of 200 people. And he got punched, righteously. That's the most justified wedding punch in history. The groom showed restraint, only hitting him once. But the bride did kiss him, one time, while drunk, and she tried to warn the groom. So there's layers here. It's not completely unprovoked insanity. Still, though, the wedding toast? That's your moment. Not a private conversation, not a letter, not literally any other option. This man lost everything. Job, family, friends, dignity, all gone, because he couldn't handle his feelings like an adult. And now every family holiday is just awkward silence and passive-aggressive potato salad passing. Moving on, before I get too stressed.
I was at a wedding where the bride's father was very openly against the marriage. He thought the groom was a loser, not good enough for his daughter, all that toxic dad stuff. But the bride was adamant, so the father agreed to walk her down the aisle. We all thought he'd gotten over it. During the ceremony, when the officiant asks, "Who gives this woman to be married?" the father is supposed to say, "I do," or "Her mother and I do." Instead, this man looks the groom dead in the eyes and says, "Nobody. Nobody gives her away. She's making a terrible mistake." Then he turns to his daughter and says, "You're going to regret this. Don't come crying to me when it falls apart." And he just walks away, down the aisle, out of the venue. Gone. The bride is sobbing, the groom doesn't know what to do, the mother is mortified. The bridesmaids are trying to comfort the bride. The officiant, bless him, tries to salvage it. He says, "Well, shall we continue?" They did continue. They got married, but the whole energy was ruined. Everyone was uncomfortable. The reception was miserable. The father never came back. He didn't attend the reception. He sent a text later that night that said, "I said what I said." Here's the kicker. The marriage lasted 18 months. The groom cheated, they got divorced, and the bride had to move back home with her parents. Her father apparently never said, "I told you so," but you know he was thinking it loudly. They've since repaired their relationship somewhat, but she says every family gathering has this underlying tension where nobody mentions the wedding. The father maintains he was right to object. The daughter maintains he ruined her wedding day. They're at a stalemate.
The audacity, the sheer audacity of this man. Who gives this woman to be married? Nobody. This is stupid and you're stupid. Then just walks out. That's not protecting your daughter. That's sabotaging her life choices in real time. And the worst part? He was right. The marriage lasted 18 months. The groom cheated. The dad's petty father senses were correct. But you can't do that. You can't publicly humiliate your daughter at her wedding, even if you're right. You have to let people make their own mistakes. That's part of being an adult. You voice your concerns before the wedding, in private, multiple times if necessary. But once you're walking down that aisle, you commit to the bit. The officiant trying to continue like nothing happened. Shall we continue? Sir, the vibes are dead. The vibes have left the building with the father of the bride. Can you imagine being a guest at that wedding? Do you clap? Do you leave? Do you pretend you didn't just witness a father abandon his daughter at the altar? And now every Thanksgiving is just passive-aggressive side eyes and the unspoken, I was right energy radiating from the dad. Pass the gravy. Also, I told you so. Also, I'm still not sorry. Also, I'll take more mashed potatoes. Families are just trauma with a side of holiday dinner. Next.
I was a bridesmaid at my friend's wedding. Another bridesmaid, let's call her Jen, was the bride's sister. Jen had a history of drinking too much at events, but the bride thought she'd behave at the wedding. She did not. Jen started drinking at the pre-wedding brunch. By the time the ceremony started, she was tipsy. By the reception, she was drunk. During dinner, Jen stands up and decides to give an impromptu speech. Nobody asked her to. She just grabbed the mic from the DJ. She starts with, "My sister is getting married." Everyone claps politely. Then she says, "I'm so happy for her. She deserves this, especially after what happened with Jake." The room goes silent. Jake is the bride's ex-boyfriend. They broke up 2 years ago. Nobody talks about Jake. Jen continues, "Yeah, remember Jake? Remember how he proposed and she said no? And then he moved across the country? That was crazy." The bride's face is bright red. She's trying to signal Jen to stop. Jen does not stop. But this guy is so much better, even though he's not as hot or rich or funny. But he's nice. That's what matters. The groom looks crushed. Guests are cringing. The bride's mother is trying to get to the mic. Jen's final gem is, "And hey, if this doesn't work out, there's always Jake. He's still single." She winks. The bride's mother finally gets the mic away from her. Jen is escorted out by groomsmen. She's still yelling, "I'm just being honest." The rest of the reception was super awkward. The groom kept asking the bride about Jake. The bride kept apologizing. Guests started leaving early. Jen sobered up the next day and remembered everything. She sent an apology text that said, "I'm so sorry. I have a problem." The bride didn't speak to her sister for 6 months. They're on speaking terms now, but Jen is banned from all future family events where alcohol is served. The marriage is actually fine. They're still together 4 years later, but the bride says she can never forget that her sister compared her husband unfavorably to her ex at her own wedding.
He's not as hot or rich or funny, but he's nice. Jen, read the room. Drunk people and microphones are a dangerous combination. That's why most weddings have planned speeches with approved speakers. This woman speed ran destroying a wedding reception in under 3 minutes. That's almost impressive. That's efficiency. And if this doesn't work out, there's always Jake. Jake is gone. Jake moved across the country. Let Jake rest in peace in the relationship graveyard. The groom, hearing that his new wife's ex was hotter, richer, and funnier, On his wedding day, that man's self-esteem got destroyed. And Jen remembering everything the next day? That's the worst. If you're gonna ruin a wedding, at least have the mercy of blacking out so you don't have to live with the memory. I have a problem. Yes, Jen. The problem is you're banned from open bars for life. 4 years later, and the bride still can't forget. That's the thing about wedding disasters. They're forever. The photos, the video, the memories. Every anniversary, the husband is probably like, "Happy anniversary. I'm still not as good as Jake, apparently." This is why weddings should require breathalyzers before speeches. If you're over .08, the mic is confiscated. Public safety, people. Moving on.
I attended a wedding where the groom's mother hated the bride, like openly despised her, thought she wasn't good enough, was convinced she was a gold digger. The groom was not rich, by the way. The whole 9 yards. The mother tried to get the wedding canceled multiple times. She called venues and tried to cancel reservations. She told vendors the wedding was off. She showed up at the bride's house to talk sense into her. But the wedding happened anyway. And the mother showed up wearing white. A full white gown, basically a wedding dress. Already a nightmare move, but it gets worse. During the vows, when the officiant asks if anyone objects, the mother stands up and says, "I do. I object. This woman is ruining my son's life." The groom immediately says, "Mom, sit down, now." She doesn't. She keeps going. She's not good enough for you. She's manipulative. She's isolating you from your family. This is a mistake. The groom's face goes from embarrassed to furious. He tells the officiant to continue. The officiant looks terrified but continues with the vows. The mother is still standing, still talking. Finally, the groom's father and 2 groomsmen physically escort her out. She's screaming the whole way, "You'll regret this! She's going to destroy you!" They finish the ceremony. The bride is crying, not happy tears, devastated tears. The groom is trying to comfort her while also processing that his mother just did that. At the reception, they hired security to make sure the mother couldn't get in. She tried 3 times. The 3rd time, the groom went outside and told her if she didn't leave, he'd call the police and press charges for harassment. She left, but not before shouting, "Don't come crying to me when this falls apart." The couple is still married, 7 years now. They have 2 kids. The groom's mother has never met her grandchildren. He cut her off completely after the wedding. His father divorced her 2 years later, citing the wedding incident as the final straw in years of toxic behavior. The mother apparently still posts on Facebook about how she's a victim and her son abandoned her. She has no idea why.
Wearing white to a wedding you're trying to sabotage? That's not just petty, that's advanced psychological warfare. This woman committed every mother-in-law sin in one day, wearing white, public objection, getting physically removed, attempting to breach security. That's speedrunning being awful. And she has no self-awareness. "I don't know why my son won't talk to me." Ma'am, you tried to cancel his wedding multiple times, then showed up anyway to ruin it. The fact that the groom cut her off and she's never met her grandchildren? Good. That's healthy boundaries. That's protecting his family from toxicity. Even the husband divorced her. Her own husband said, "The wedding thing was the last straw. I'm out." That's how bad she was. And she's posting on Facebook playing victim. "I'm so confused why my family abandoned me after I publicly humiliated them and tried to sabotage their happiness. The math ain't mathin', Karen. This is what happens when you think your child belongs to you forever. They don't. They grow up, they leave, they choose partners. And your job is to be supportive, not sabotage them. 7 years, 2 kids, and a mother who will never know them. That's the consequence of being unable to let go. Sad? Sure, but also entirely self-inflicted. Next story.
I was at a wedding where the couple hired a budget-friendly caterer to save money. First red flag. The ceremony was beautiful. No drama, no objections, everything perfect. We all thought we were in for a nice, normal wedding. Then the reception started. Dinner was supposed to be served at 6 p.m. By 6:30, no food. By 7, people are getting restless. The bride and groom keep apologizing, saying it's coming soon. By 7:30, the caterer finally brings out food, but there's not enough. They were supposed to cater to 150 people. They brought food for maybe 80. People are fighting over dinner rolls. Guests are hoarding food. It's like the Hunger Games, but with wedding guests in formal wear. Then people start eating the food that is there. Within 30 minutes, half the guests are violently ill. Food poisoning. The caterer had undercooked the chicken. People are leaving to vomit. The bathrooms are full. Some people are throwing up in the parking lot. One groomsman passed out. Ambulances are called. Ambulances at a wedding. Multiple guests are taken to the hospital. The bride is sobbing. The groom is on the phone with the caterer, screaming. The venue is threatening to sue because people are getting sick on their property. The reception ends at 8:30 p.m., 2.5 hours after it started. The dance floor never opened. The cake was never cut. First dance never happened. The caterer's excuse? They'd accidentally double-booked and tried to stretch the food for one wedding to cover 2 weddings. Hence, not enough food and rushing the cooking time. 37 guests ended up with food poisoning. The couple sued the caterer for $75,000. They won, but it took 2 years. The bride says the wedding disaster actually brought them closer together. They bonded over the shared trauma. They've been married for 5 years now. But they never had a proper reception. They're too traumatized. They just tell people they eloped.
37 people. Food poisoning. Ambulances. This isn't a wedding disaster, this is a public health crisis. Budget-friendly caterer. There's frugal, and then there's accidentally poison your entire wedding. Those are very different things. People fighting over dinner rolls like it's the apocalypse. That's not a reception, that's Lord of the Flies, but everyone's wearing fancy dresses. And the caterer double-booked. They tried to split one wedding's food between 2 weddings. That's not a mistake, that's fraud. The bride and groom never got their first dance, never cut their cake, just watched their guests drop like flies from salmonella. How was your wedding? Oh, pretty standard. Undercooked chicken, mass food poisoning, multiple hospitalizations. The usual. At least they bonded over the trauma. That's something. We survived a biohazard event together, so marriage should be easy in comparison. They're too traumatized to have a proper reception 5 years later. That's how bad it was. The PTSD is real. And they tell people they eloped. That's easier than explaining that their wedding became a CDC case study. Note to future couples, pay for a good caterer. It's worth it. The alternative is mass food poisoning and collective trauma. Your wedding should be memorable for good reasons. Next story.
I was at a wedding where the couple wrote their own vows. Usually sweet, right? Personal, meaningful, heartfelt. The bride goes first. Standard stuff. I promise to love you, support you, grow old with you. Beautiful, emotional, everyone's crying. Then it's the groom's turn. He starts normal. I promise to be faithful, honest, and devoted. Then he pauses. Long pause. Everyone's waiting. He says, and I need to start that honesty right now, before we go any further. Oh no. The guests sense something's wrong. The bride looks confused. He continues, 2 years ago, when we broke up for 3 months, I slept with someone else. I never told you. I need you to know before we get married. The bride's face goes from confused to shocked to furious in about 2 seconds. She says, "You what?" He's crying now. "I'm so sorry. I couldn't marry you with this secret. You deserve to know the truth." The bride rips off her veil and slaps him. Hard. The sound echoed through the venue. She says, "You couldn't tell me this 2 years ago, or last month, or yesterday? You chose now?" She storms out. The bridesmaids chase after her. The groom is standing there crying, saying he thought being honest was the right thing to do. The bride's father approaches the microphone and says, "Well, folks, wedding's off. There's food in an open bar, though, so feel free to stay and enjoy. We paid for it." And people did stay. We had a wedding reception without a wedding. It was the most awkward party I've ever attended. The groom left after about 20 minutes. The bride never came back. They did not get married. The bride posted on social media later that she was dodging a bullet from someone who chose the altar as the appropriate time for confessions. The groom apparently thought coming clean during his vows was romantic and showed his commitment to honesty. He was wrong. Last I heard, the bride is engaged to someone else, and the groom is single and still doesn't understand why his honest vows didn't go over well.
I need to be honest at the worst possible moment. Therapy exists. Private conversations exist. Literally any other time exists. This man had 2 years to come clean. 2 years, 730 days. And he chose the altar during his vows in front of everyone. That's not honesty. That's emotional terrorism. I thought being honest was the right thing to do. Honesty is good. Timing is everything. Those are both true statements. The slap that echoed through the venue. That bride had power. That groom's descendants felt that slap. And the father? Wedding's off, but the bar's open. That's handling a crisis with grace. That's leadership. We're already out 40 grand. Might as well get drunk. People stayed for the reception without a wedding? That's the most bizarre party ever. Welcome to the didn't get married reception. Enjoy the chicken. The groom still doesn't understand why it went badly. I was being honest. Yes. At the worst possible time, in the worst possible way. There's a time and place for confession. The altar, in front of 200 people, in the middle of your vows? Not it. This man snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. She was about to marry him. And he imploded his own wedding with honesty. Honesty without wisdom is just cruelty with good PR. Moving on.
I was at my cousin's wedding. She had her fiancé's niece as the flower girl. Adorable 6-year-old kid. Everything's going smoothly. The flower girl walks down the aisle, throws petals, does her job perfectly. So cute. During the ceremony, while the officiant is talking about love and commitment, the flower girl, who's standing right up front, suddenly pipes up in the dead silence, "Mommy says Uncle Dave shouldn't be getting married because he's still in love with Aunt Jennifer." The entire venue goes silent. Dave is the groom. Jennifer is his ex-wife. The bride's face drops, the groom goes pale, the flower girl's mother looks like she wants to disappear into the floor. The flower girl continues because children have no filter. Mommy told Daddy that Uncle Dave talks about Aunt Jennifer all the time and cries when he watches their old videos. Oh my God. The bride is staring at the groom. The groom is trying to shush the flower girl. The kid is on a roll now. And Uncle Dave still has pictures of Aunt Jennifer in his phone. Mommy saw them last week. The bride says, "Is this true?" The groom is stuttering. It's not. I can explain. The bride doesn't wait for an explanation. She walks out, just turns and leaves. The flower girl asks, "Did I say something wrong?" The wedding is obviously canceled. The reception is canceled. Everyone awkwardly leaves. Turns out the flower girl's mom had been gossiping about the groom's lingering feelings for his ex-wife, and the kid overheard everything. Kids are like sponges. They remember everything they're not supposed to. The bride and groom tried to work through it, but ultimately broke up. The groom admitted he wasn't fully over his ex and shouldn't have proposed. The flower girl's mother is no longer invited to family events. The flower girl is too young to understand she ruined a wedding. The bride is now married to someone else and does not have children in her wedding party.
Out of the mouths of babes comes absolute destruction. This 6-year-old delivered a tactical strike on this wedding. She went full scorched earth. No survivors. Uncle Dave cries watching old videos of his ex. Kid, stop! The adults are dying. And she kept going. She has pictures in his phone. She had receipts. This child came with evidence. The mom gossiping, never expecting her daughter to memorize and recite her private conversations at the worst possible time. That's the thing about kids. They will absolutely sell you out at the most inconvenient moment. They're loyalty-free agents. Tiny chaos machines. The groom had no defense. I can explain. No, sir, your niece already explained, thoroughly, with details. And the bride just walked out. Didn't wait for excuses, didn't ask questions, just nope and left. Queen behavior, honestly. The flower girl asking, "Did I say something wrong?" Sweetie, you destroyed a marriage. But also, technically, you told the truth, so good job. The mom being banned from family events. She brought this on herself. Don't gossip where children can hear. They will weaponize that information. No children in the wedding party is now the bride's permanent rule. Can't blame her. Children are walking liabilities. This is why wedding parties should be 21 plus. Old enough to drink, old enough to keep secrets. Next story.
I was working as the AV guy for a wedding. The groom had prepared a surprise video montage for the bride. Photos of them together, romantic music, the whole thing. He gave me the USB drive before the ceremony and told me to play it during the reception, right before the first dance. Reception time comes, I plug in the USB, pull up the file. The title says, "For My Beautiful Wife." I hit play. It starts with romantic music and photos, everyone smiling. Then, suddenly, the video changes. It's not wedding appropriate. It's explicit, very explicit. It's a video of the groom with another woman, in bed, doing things. The video is playing on a massive screen in front of 200 guests. I'm frantically trying to stop it, but the remote isn't responding. The laptop froze. People are screaming. Parents are covering their children's eyes. The bride is standing there in shock. I finally just unplug everything. The screen goes black, but the damage is done. Everyone saw it. The groom is panicking. "That's not supposed to be on there. I don't know how that got there. I swear." The bride runs out. The groom chases after her. The venue erupts into chaos. Here's what actually happened. The groom had been cheating. He made a sex tape with his mistress and stored it on the same USB drive as the wedding montage. When he went to delete it, he accidentally deleted the wedding video instead. So when I hit play, it went straight to the only video file on the drive, the sex tape. The bride filed for annulment the next day. They'd been married for approximately 6 hours. The groom tried to claim he was hacked or framed, but the mistress came forward and confirmed everything. She was actually at the wedding as a guest. The bride had no idea. I got blamed initially for playing the wrong video, but once the full story came out, everyone realized I was just as much a victim. Still, the worst day of my career, though. The venue had to offer refunds to several traumatized guests. One grandmother fainted and had to be taken to the hospital. She was fine, just overwhelmed. Last I heard, the groom is still single, the bride is in therapy, and I now always preview every USB drive before an event, no matter what the client says.
This is my nightmare scenario. Poor AV guy just trying to do his job, and he accidentally airs pornographic evidence of the groom's infidelity to 200 people. The remote not working? The laptop freezing? That's the universe saying, no, everyone needs to see this. This is important information. And the mistress was there, at the wedding, as a guest. The audacity, the absolute gall of these people. I don't know how that got there. You made it, bro. You filmed it with your mistress, then stored it on the wedding USB? That's not bad luck. That's cosmically terrible decision-making. Married for 6 hours before filing for annulment? That might be a record. Speed run divorce any percent. A grandmother fainted. Grandma did not need to see that. Grandma came for cake and dancing, not hardcore evidence of infidelity. And the AV guy got blamed. Sir, he just pressed play. He's not responsible for your infidelity file management system. I now always preview every USB drive. Smart. That's PTSD-induced professional growth. That's learning through trauma. This groom really said, let me make a sex tape, store it with my wedding video, delete the wrong file, and destroy my marriage in front of everyone I know. Old strategy. Didn't work. 2 more stories.
I was at a wedding where the ring bearer was the groom's 5-year-old son from a previous relationship. The bride was the new stepmom. The kid had been resistant to the relationship from the start, but everyone assumed he'd behave for the wedding. He walked down the aisle fine, held the ring pillow, stood where he was supposed to. During the vows, when the rings were being exchanged, the officiant asked the ring bearer for the rings. The kid looked at the bride, looked at his dad, and said very loudly, "I don't want you to marry her." The groom tries to gently tell him, "It's okay, just give them the rings." The kid continues, "She's mean to me when you're not looking. She said I'm annoying and I ruin everything." The bride's face goes from sweet to panicked. The groom says, "What? What are you talking about?" The kid starts crying. "She told me if you get married, I have to go live with mommy all the time and I can't see you anymore." The bride tries to interrupt. "He's making that up. He's just..." But the kid cuts her off. "And you called grandma a bad word. You said she's a..." The grandmother in question stands up. "She said what?" Absolute chaos. The groom is demanding answers. The bride is trying to explain. The kid is crying. The grandmother is yelling. Turns out the bride had been saying inappropriate things to the kid when the groom wasn't around, trying to push him away, making him feel unwanted. The kid had told his mom, and his mom told him to tell his dad, but the kid chose the wedding as his moment. The groom called off the wedding right there, told everyone to go home. The reception was canceled. He ended up getting full custody of his son after this incident. The bride's behavior toward the child came out in custody hearings. The bride tried to salvage her reputation, claiming the kid was coached by the ex-wife, but too many people had witnessed her being cold to the kid at various events. The groom is now dating someone else who his son actually likes. The sign is apparently thriving now. The ring bearer is a legend in that family. He saved his dad from a bad marriage by roasting the bride at the altar.
That 5-year-old is a hero. He took down an evil stepmother like he was in a Disney movie. She's mean to me when you're not looking. Out of the mouths of babes. Straight facts. The grandma standing up. She said what? Grandmas don't play. You do not disrespect grandma. And the kid was holding the rings, holding them hostage until his truth was told. Strategic. Brilliant. The bride trying to claim he was making it up? Too late. The damage is done. The truth is out. You've been exposed by a 5-year-old. He's just what? Just telling the truth? Calling off the wedding right there. That's decisive. That's good parenting. Everyone go home. The wedding is off. My son comes first. And he got full custody. The kid saved himself and his relationship with his dad. That's a power move. The ring bearer is a legend. Family reunions are probably just everyone thanking him for taking one for the team. Remember when you roasted Karen at the altar and saved Dad? Good times. This is proof that sometimes kids know what's up. They see through the fake nice act. They know who's real and who's pretending. Listen to your kids, people. They're not always just being difficult. Sometimes they're trying to save you from terrible decisions. Final story coming up.
I was at a wedding where the maid of honor was the bride's former best friend. They'd had a falling out years ago, but had recently reconnected. The bride, wanting to show forgiveness and new beginnings, asked her to be maid of honor. Big gesture, right? Maid of honor accepts. Everything seems fine through the planning process. Reception time comes. Maid of honor gets up to give her toast. Everyone's expecting a heartfelt speech about friendship and forgiveness. She starts normal. I've known the bride for 15 years. We've been through a lot together. Then her tone shifts, which is why I feel it's my duty to share something important on this special day. Uh-oh. She pulls out her phone. 3 months ago, the bride sent me these text messages. She starts reading texts out loud to the entire reception. The texts are the bride talking about how the groom is boring and she's only marrying him for financial security, how she's already planned to cheat on him, how she's still in love with her ex-boyfriend. The room is silent. The groom looks like he's been punched. The bride is frozen in horror. The maid of honor continues. She also sent me these photos of her with her ex-boyfriend. These were taken 2 weeks ago. She holds up her phone. You can see the photos from across the room. The bride and another man, clearly intimate. The bride jumps up and tries to grab the phone. The maid of honor pulls it away. Oh, and the ex-boyfriend? He's here tonight. Table 7. Stand up, Mark. A man at table 7 awkwardly half stands. The groom's head whips around to look at him. The maid of honor finishes. So here's to the bride. May your marriage last longer than your integrity. She takes a sip of champagne and walks out. The groom stands up, looks at the bride, and says, "We're done." He walks out too. The bride is crying, trying to explain to anyone who will listen. Most people are leaving. The ex-boyfriend also leaves, clearly not expecting to be called out. The wedding imploded in under 5 minutes. Later investigation revealed
The maid of honor had been waiting for this moment. She had befriended the bride again specifically to be in the wedding so she could expose her. The texts were real. The photos were real. She had multiple witnesses who confirmed the bride's affair. The groom annulled the marriage immediately. The bride's reputation was destroyed. She left town. The maid of honor? She posted the whole toast on TikTok. It went viral, millions of views. People called her a hero. Some called her petty and cruel. She responded, "I saved a good man from a terrible person. I regret nothing." She's not wrong.
The long con. The ultimate revenge. This woman played the longest game. She befriended the bride again, became her maid of honor, gathered evidence, and detonated it at the reception. That's not petty. That's strategic. That's calculated. That's Ocean's 11 levels of planning. May your marriage last longer than your integrity. Bars. Absolutely savage. That's a line that will echo through eternity. And she had proof. Texts, photos, the actual ex-boyfriend in attendance. That's not just revenge. That's a full presentation. Stand up, Mark. Mark stood up. Why did Mark come to this wedding? Was he hoping not to be noticed? The groom just, "We're done," and walked out. No questions, no second chances, just exit. That's the only appropriate response. Going viral on TikTok. Millions of views. This woman became famous for destroying a wedding. That's a legacy. I saved a good man from a terrible person. Honestly? Fair. The bride was actively planning to cheat. The texts were real. Is it petty? Yes. Is it cruel? Maybe. Is it justified? Debatable. Did it work? Absolutely. This maid of honor said, "I will be your friend again, but only to destroy you at your wedding," and executed it flawlessly. That's commitment. That's dedication. That's holding a grudge and turning it into performance art. The bride left town, couldn't handle the fallout, had to start over somewhere else. Meanwhile, the maid of honor is living her best life as a viral TikTok hero. Sometimes revenge is a dish best served cold. Sometimes it's served at a wedding reception in front of 200 people. Perfect ending to this chaos. And there you have it. 11 wedding disasters that prove happily ever after is not guaranteed, especially when families, exes, and open bars are involved. Let's recap our journey through matrimonial chaos. We had a fake pregnancy announcement that destroyed an engagement, a best man who confessed his love mid-speech and got punched, a father who walked out on his daughter's wedding and was right, a drunk bridesmaid comparing the groom to an ex, a mother-in-law in white who got physically removed, a caterer who poisoned 37 guests, a groom who confessed to cheating during his vows, a flower girl who exposed her uncle's lingering feelings, an AV guy who accidentally played a sex tape at the reception, a ring bearer who exposed his evil stepmom, and a maid of honor who executed the ultimate revenge toast. What have we learned? First, the speak now or forever hold your peace part is not just ceremonial. People will object. And it's always catastrophic. Second, never trust children at weddings. They will absolutely destroy your special day with the truth. They have no filter, no loyalty, and perfect timing. Third, alcohol and microphones should never mix. If you're drunk, put the mic down. Nothing good has ever come from a drunk person with a platform. Fourth, always preview your USB drives before events. Always. This is non-negotiable. Fifth, if you're not over your ex, don't get married. Work through that before proposing. Therapy exists for a reason. Sixth, background check your caterer. Food poisoning at your wedding is a special kind of disaster. 7th, set boundaries with family. Shh. If your mother is toxic, she doesn't get a free pass because it's your wedding. Protect your peace. And finally, if you're planning something shady, cheating, lying, hiding secrets, maybe don't get married. Just a thought. Weddings are supposed to be celebrations of love, but they're also high-stress, expensive, family-intensive events where anything can go wrong, and as we've seen today, frequently does go wrong. If you enjoyed this compilation of relationship disasters, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that'll make you appreciate being single, or at least grateful your wedding wasn't this dramatic. Drop a comment if you've witnessed wedding chaos, or if you were involved in wedding drama. We want to hear your stories. The messier, the better. Also, vote in the comments. Which disaster was the worst? The sex tape, the revenge toast, the food poisoning, the various child-based exposures? Let us know. And hey, if you're getting married soon, good luck. May your wedding be drama-free. May all your family members behave. May your caterer not poison anyone. May your USB drives contain only appropriate content. But also, maybe hire security and preview everything, and consider having a child-free wedding, and limit the open bar. And vet your wedding party thoroughly. Actually, you know what? Just elope. Vegas. Drive-through chapel. Elvis officiant. Zero drama. Highly recommend. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember, love is beautiful, but weddings are minefields. Navigate carefully. Stay dramatic, stay cautious, and maybe reconsider that open bar. Until next time.